Boost.
Active Aero.
Slipstream.
Undercut.
Overtake Mode.
Parc Ferme.
Understeer.
Racing line.
Apex.
Qualifying.
That's an overcut.
We're trying to explain some of the F1 terms.
We'll learn together. F1 cars are usually started by the MGU-K, which is in the car already. It's a battery, and there's a tiny engine that spins the engine to start it.
There's two ways to fire up a Formula 1 car. You can either fire up, I think, remotely from the garage, so the engine engineer fires it up, or you can either press a button on the steering wheel and you fire it up.
So it's kind of just like starting a road car. Back in the day, they had a big starter motor at the back that they used to jam into the back of the car, and that's how it got started. But now, the hybrid technology, we can just push a button.
3 positions on the main switch. You call it P0, which is all the electronics off, P1, which is all the electronics on, and P2, which is electronics on plus ignition, and then you're ready to fire up.
So boost is...
Boost is just a button.
That when you push it, effectively brings you to full power whenever you push it. Because sometimes we won't be running at full power, the battery will be running at a bit less power. So if you want to go full power again, then you push the boost button.
So it's different from overtake. Overtake is when you're within a second of the car ahead. But boost you can use anywhere around the lab provided you have enough battery in your battery pack. But basically it's extra power that can be deployed,
which is gonna be able to help us overtaking another car.
We'll do this, you will overtake, and then a few corners later, you're gonna have to kind of recharge, because you can't have boost unlimited, and then this guy will have another shot at you. So yeah, overtake, overtake.
That's it. I think that's pretty simple.
Overtake mode is when, all right, I'm gonna use this. The guy in front, the guy behind, if he is within 1 second of the car in front of him, he gets more power.
So if you're within a second, you get an extra half a megajoule of energy that you're able to harvest.
You can harvest more energy that you can use on the straight, and then you overtake.
And do that. He can use that power anywhere he wishes, but you get that more power over the course of the lap.
It's like when Popeye eats his spinach, and then he gets stronger. That's basically what happens. Before a corner, you eat your spinach, you get stronger. You come out the corner, you're Popeye.
So overtake mode is basically like in your arcade games, Need for Speed, whatever. If you have a nitro bar, well, you have a bigger one. So you can use more of it. That's basically what it is.
A little bit different to DRS though, in that DRS, like you just went faster on the straight. With the overtake mode, you have to be a bit strategic with it, because at some tracks it's going to be really hard to harvest the normal amount anyway. So then when you've got an extra half, you've got to figure out a way to harvest that and then use it again. So it's quite a strategic, complex mode at some tracks.
Active Aero in nowadays Formula 1 is basically front and rear wing that opens up to reduce drag on the straights.
So in the past, so for the past, 15 years, there's been DRS, which was just the rear wing would basically open. So it would be like shut and it would open to reduce drag to help overtaking. This year we have that same feature, but on the front wing as well.
Active Aero is the straight line mode that we have. So the front wing, the rear wing open, or the front wing drops. It's like DRS last year, but a bit more powerful, and that's what we use this year down all of the straights, basically.
This red part of the front wing and the red part of the rear wing, it drops down.
It's like when you put your hands out of the window, put it like this, so it pushes down. If you put it like this, it stays level. Well, when it stays level, it's easier to hold it straight.
We have zones around the track, which are on the straights. There's straights on the track where we're allowed to press a button, which will make both wings sort of open to reduce the drag.
So that's what Active Aero is.
Downforce. Basically, I'll bring out my trusty thing.
At the moment, most of the downforce gets, of course, generated with the wings that you can see and the floor. And it basically works opposite to a plane.
With the way the wing is shaped, it creates lift which means the plane flies. We have, in F1, the wing is designed in the opposite way, which creates a sucking motion, and that is downforce. It's the fact that the car gets sucked to the floor by the way the air travels over the wings.
The air comes that way because you're going really fast. You're going really fast that way, so the air's going that way. All these wings and stuff, they're not just for looks, they're to make us go fast. The air goes kind of over that and like that.
As the air is circulating around the car, it's pushing the front and the rear to hold the car down, or the floor is sucking the car down, and it's created by vortices. It's the opposite to what a plane would experience, which is called lift. When you have like if you turn this car upside down, it would literally stay on the ceiling, or it would fly, or take off. It wouldn't fly very well, but it would originally take off.
And that's where all the performance comes from. Everything else is kind of secondary. Downforce is everything.
So oversteer is when the rear tires slide, and understeer is when the front tires slide.
Okay, for that I need a car, I think. You have a corner?
Okay, that's maybe a bit too narrow.
The car has its natural yaw rate. Yaw rate is basically the relationship between the front and the rear wheels. So I kind of think of this like a shopping trolley. If you push the back of the shopping trolley and the thing starts to spin around.
This is Carlos. Carlos enters the corner, tries to turn in. If the car turns more than what I would like, the car would step out and I would do the corner oversteering.
Understeer is the opposite. So when you went shopping and you put all your groceries in the front of the shopping trolley and you try to turn it and you're just kind of like, that's normally understeer.
It's like the front are gonna slip, so actually never managed to really turn. Understeer is probably the worst feeling. At least oversteer is still turning the car.
This is, technically speaking, a fast way to drive the car. Doesn't always apply, but it makes the car sometimes unpredictable.
If Carlos tries to turn in and the car doesn't turn in as much as I would like, I would try to turn the wheel, but it will not turn. And that is understeer. Understeer, it turns under what I would like. Oversteer turns too much from what I would like.
It's stable, it's predictable. You know what you're going to get, but it's generally normally a bit slower.
A racing line is basically what we try to follow most of the time. Racing line is the ideal line through a corner, which might vary depending on who you ask to, but we pretty much roughly agree between drivers. Racing line.
Racing line is the most efficient line through a corner, which allows you to carry the most speed possible. Because if you come in on the inside here, it's a much sharper corner. You can't carry the speed. You're probably upside down here.
Because some people, they arrive here and then they don't really know what to do and they do a bit like that or whatever. You know, so you practice that from when you were a little kid to try and understand, of course, what is the best. The best line is, of course, to arrive from the outside, use all the track available, hit the apex at some point, and then open up your wheel again to try and maximize the exit as much as you can.
You try to make the radius as smooth as you can, okay? This is not the best drawing because, yeah, it's not perfect radius, but imagine if you come to the corner from here. Your corner would become much tighter, so you would have to slow down more. So that's why we take the ideal racing line.
And sometimes curbs, which are extra. So you might use the curb to open up the corner even more.
When you are in a cooldown lap, for example, you need to be out of the racing line. So you need to be here when the other car is coming faster in a push lap.
Come on the outside, basic. Get to the apex, here, out of the corner. This is roughly what you're trying to do.
And I can show you with the car. If you go here, it goes much faster. There you go.
I would say depending on the banking of the corner and the exit curbs, you might want to take a wider line on entry and a tighter on exit, or a tighter one on entry and a wider on exit. But if you see, they all have the more or less the same kind of curvature. It's just where you want to make your apex.
Apex So we take a corner, like a hairpin. Oh my god, this terrible drawing. No, cut that. It looked very odd. It looked very odd. We take the corner, and apex is normally the point of the corner where we get close to the curb or where we want to hit the line.
Apex can be a bit confusing because people might say it's in the middle of the corner, but actually that's not true. Your apex is just where you hit the corner. So some corners require a late apex, some corners require an early apex. A hairpin normally requires a late apex, whereas a medium speed corner is more in the middle. A high speed corner might actually be more of an early apex. It depends.
So that's a corner, a very tight one. The apex is that part here, so let's go that direction. So that's the apex of that corner. So when you touch the white line on the inside of the corner, that's the apex. It's where you want to clip it.
Slipstream.
Slipstream is when a car drags another. Obviously you got air coming around the cars ahead.
And this car is punching the air. So it's terrible drawing.
So the car ahead's getting all the wind and the air. The car behind basically has a lot less load because the air's not touching him.
As you're channeling behind that car, you're in the slipstream. Less drag, less air, less forces on your car, so you're picking up speed as you get close.
Now this car is in the slipstream of this car, goes quicker, overtakes out of the slipstream, goes in front. Now this car is in the slipstream.
Then you're out of the slipstream, in the slipstream, out of the slipstream, in the slipstream, out of it.
And then, this car gets closer and closer because less drag, and then overtake.
Excellent. What is an undercut and what is an overcut?
I would like to know that myself very much. 15 years here, still figuring it out.
Undercut, when a car overtakes under the ground, the other one.
So when you go to an undercut, got a leading car, chasing car, undercut, so when that car went behind, spitting before the leading car, go in the box.
And you obviously get new tires. The new tires gives you that extra amount of grip for that out lap that the car who stayed out for one more lap is then still on the old tires.
So if you pit before the guy ahead of you, you'll come out much quicker, and by the time they come in, if they come in the next lap or the lap afterwards, you've already gained 6 seconds and you undercut.
And basically an overcut is the opposite. So the guy ahead of you pits, you stay out 1 or 2 laps.
And when you're boxing, you're coming out in front of this car.
And so when it comes down to taking the stop, there are circuits where it is more beneficial to go longer. So if the car ahead of you stops, you go longer and continue. That car might come out in traffic or something like that, or have a slow tire warm up, and then you pit and you come out ahead of it. That's an overcut.
F1 pit stops are so fast because when you stop in the box, first of all, we have a lot of mechanics surrounding the car, more than I think in any other category.
You have 3 people per corner.
So one person will be just pulling off a wheel, one person will be just using the wheel gun.
One guy puts it back on, one guy then re-guns. You then have 2 extra supports on the side, and you also have 1 front and 1 rear.
For me, the pit stop is like a choreography in gymnastics. Like if everyone manages to do their part as fast as possible, but as coordinated as possible, you end up doing a sub 2-second pit stop.
All the teams practice them a lot, and they also have a lot of people that are working together or with a very specific role.
I think the key of it is practice. The more you practice and the best machines that you have to do the pit stop, normally the quicker your pit stops are.
So people, simply, and also equipment, but people is the reason that F1 pit stops are so fast.
Format for qualifying, we have 3 sessions, Q1, Q2, Q3.
It's very intense format. So basically, all 22 cars have, I think, 18 minutes in Q1 to establish their best lap times.
This year with 22 cars, the top 16 will go through to Q2.
And then Q2, the first 10 go through.
and then they fight for who is in pole position.
Whoever sets the fastest lap time in Q3 is the person who's going to start on pole position for the race. So that's how you do it. The timing gets shorter and shorter each time.
Q3 is also a shorter session. In general, we can only achieve 2 complete time laps, and this will set the grid on Sunday.
What are tire compounds? I mean,
So every weekend we get allocated 3 different types of tires, which are different stiffnesses, so soft, medium and hard.
The softer they are, usually the stickier they are, and the faster you can go for one lap.
And that's what we use for qualifying generally, because it offers the most grip, but it offers the grip for a short amount of time. So soft tires for qualifying, it's faster over 1 lap, but over 10 laps, it's generally a bit slower than the medium. The medium would be faster over 15 laps than the soft, but the hard would be even faster over 30 laps, let's say. So it's all about the stint length and the ultimate lap time versus the stint length that you're planning to do.
they are named, of course, it's like C5, C4, C3, C2, C1. C1 is the hardest, C5 is the softest.
Pirelli and FIA, they choose 3 compounds per event. So this, for example, for Bahrain would be soft, medium and hard. And then for another race, this could be the soft and this could be the medium and this could be the hard, for example. And we need always to use the 3 compounds in a race weekend.
So white is the hardest, yellow in the middle, and red the softest.
The sprint weekend is basically more fun, more racing, more qualifying laps, less practice, and very tired engineers at the end of the weekend.
Sprint is a short race, 45 minutes, that we do a separate qualifying for.
We do 1/3 of a race distance.
No pit stops, nothing. You just literally push all the time.
There's less points on offer, no pit stops, but it's some race weekends use this format to have 2 races, and it's quite fun.
It gives us a chance to, I guess, learn about the car for the race on Sunday.
It's just the fastest one from the start to the flag that wins.
Parc Ferme is as soon as we drive out for quali, the cars under Parc Ferme conditions means you're not allowed to change anything on the car, on the setup anymore.
Parc Ferme is a place and time period where you can't make setup changes. They might be checked for technical regulations, and it's kind of frozen in terms of setup. So you can't change it and you have to stick with it.
Of course, throughout the weekend, up until qualifying, we always make changes to the car. But then normally, once qualifying starts, then you are in Parc Ferme and then you can't really make any changes to the car unless there is like really bad damage, of course, or whatever. But
Team members aren't allowed to touch the cars so that the FIA, the rulers can come and check that your car is legal. So the mechanics can only touch the car once there is a representative, once the referee is in town.
So the point system,
25 points for the winner, 18 for second, 15 for third, 12 for fourth, 10 for fifth.
6th place is 8 points, then 7th place 6 points, 8th place 4 points, and then you go into 9th place 2 points and 10th place 1 point. So only the top 10 get rewarded.
The reason why there's a bigger gap from first to second is Formula One wants to reward the winner greater to potentially risk more in a race to get those extra 7 points.
It's just the one that deserves it the most, so I guess this is why we've put it that way.
Yeah, I get points sometimes when you do well.
Boost mode.
It's just a few.
Boost.
It looks like me in there though. My helmet.
Boost.
Maybe this is a better example.
Boost.